on me. And also another revelation, obviously, Nayana, I'm sure you understand who me and you are, practically to be here, who me and you are here in the end. Um, like, honestly, Nayana, pertaining to the prophecy, you know, there's been many olive trees in time past. For an example, Moses and Aaron, those were an example of a pair of olive trees Yahuwah had down here in times past. Not just Moses and Aaron, but I mean, shoot, Zerubbabel, right? Yahushua, son of Yosedek, the high priest. I'm Zerubbabel. You're, practically Yahushua. You know what I'm saying? Um, Another example would be Elijah and Elisha. What else? What other examples? Uh, oh yeah, well, yeah, Adam and Eve. Those were the first. When you talk about the two anointed ones standing before the God of the whole earth, well, who were the two anointed ones standing before the God of the earth at the first? Well, it was Adam and Eve. When he revealed to me, saying when he revealed to me that, not that I was the olive tree, but like I told you before, Nayana, and another, saying, like, I thought my counterpart in this prophecy was going to be a brother. When I would read Revelation 11, I would make connections back to Moses and Aaron. I thought my counterpart was a brother, but no, it's my spouse. He's throwing it back to the beginning. The two anointed ones at the first, it was Adam and Eve. I'm bringing this up because our ancient dad and mom, ancient father and mother. Well, truly, we only have one father, it's Yahuwah, but our ancient dad and mom, nonetheless, after they had sinned, right, they had some, things taken away from them. Obviously, they lost their, their bright nature that they had to them, and they got expelled out of the garden. But apart from that, though, they also lost the ability that they had, which was, the ability to communicate and have verbal dialogue with the animals. Adam and Eve, before they got, before they sinned and got kicked out the garden, they were able to talk to the animals. You know, it's funny too because if you read the book of Adam and Eve, you know, describes how Eve was on the west side of the garden. Adam, he was on the east side of the garden, and also, that, well, all the male animals were with Adam. All the female animals, they were with Eve. They were able to talk to the animals, Nayana. You know, Nay, when you watch movies, for an example, like these Disney movies, what I'm saying, when they show you these films with these white, Disney princesses, and they're, saying these white Disney princesses, like, for an example, was Snow White, or Rapunzel, Cinderella, right, Sleeping Beauty, right, etc. When you see this in those films, they're showing you what it was at the first. Yeah, that's exactly. So when you watch these films, right, these Disney films with Snow White, Cinderella, Rapunzel, etc., and they're, singing, like running through the forest, right, and singing with the animals. Okay, you could say it's like a mockery of Eve in a sense. Obviously, we know Eve wasn't white, but also, yeah, they're showing you how it was at the first. What I'm saying? It's like, yeah, that's how Eve was in the garden. You know what I'm saying? Eve and Adam, for that matter, and they were, communicating with the animals. They were able to, speak and have verbal dialogue, have conversations, etc. with the animals. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When we see that in, Genesis, when the serpent came to Eve, well, it wasn't like the devil. It wasn't like Hasatan, actually. Hasatan had, used the vessel of a snake, of a serpent. And he walked, up to Eve, saying he possessed the vessel of the serpent. And he went to Eve and enticed her through the serpent. And obviously, we know that the serpent, the snake, right, used to have like limbs, arms, legs, nails, etc. But then, yeah, I'm saying that's what it was at the first. We were, I say we, but Adam and Eve, they were able to talk to the animals, but that got cut off once they sinned. And since then, well, the mouths of the animals have been shut up to us. And I'm sure the mouths, our mouths, right, it's been pretty much shut up to them. I think. As a matter of fact, I think some animals may actually understand what we're saying. Maybe, I don't know. But no doubt, we can't understand the animals anymore. We used to, but we're gonna have that restored back. Nayana, Nayana, I hope you understand that. Once we get anointed, we're gonna have that ability restored back. You know, like I said, I talked about this in another video. We're not like Adam and Eve actually. Hell, we're not Moses and Aaron, or Elijah, or what I'm saying, or whatever the case. What I'm saying, we're not these prophets, these people actually, but for what it is, that's who we are to be here in the end. You know, yeah. So we're gonna have that restored as well. Like, I'm gonna throw this up on the screen here. There was a movie that came out a while back, years ago. Doctor Doolittle. Yeah, so like this guy's, character, he was like a doctor, like a vet doctor, like a veterinarian. Yet, well, he was able to communicate with the animals, that he was, saying, treating, what I'm saying. Like obviously you see there, I mean, he was able to talk, to bears, dogs, monkeys, cats, I mean, etc. Any animal, he was able to communicate and talk with them. Yeah, that's how it was at the first with Adam. Adam was able to talk to the animals. Nayana. Huh? Yeah, I'm sure, baby, that you read the Book of Adam and Eve. Well, when Adam, was dropped down to Jordan, doing his penitence, yeah, he was crying. And he was saying, it's here on the screen, and he said, "I tell you, O Jordan, suffer with me, and assemble all the animals which are around you, so that they may come to surround you and bewail me, not for their own sakes, but for me, because Elohim did not withhold their father from them, which Elohim gave them from the beginning, but I have been withheld from my means of life and from my food." When Adam had said that with bitter tears, all the cattle gathered close to him and stood around him like walls. At the moment when the water of Jordan had restrained its flow, then Adam raised his voice towards God and varied his tone 6 times, like the voices of all the angels. Yeah, what I'm saying, he was able to, communicate with the animals. They were able to understand him. They were able to understand him. Yeah, yeah, and it's gonna, and this ability will be restored back to our race. This ability will be restored to us to be able to communicate with the animals. Nay, yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be wild. Um, but yeah, no doubt, my love. No doubt, my love. That's some revelations I just wanted to, go over, with you. I'm going to continue to do that as time goes on, because I'm sure while I'm doing my penance, the Father, he's going to just continue to reveal more and more things to me as the days go on, pertaining to the entire prophecy as a whole. You know, because like if we you read the Gospels, Yahusha, no doubt, he was telling his disciples way far out, ahead of time, that he was going to suffer that brutal death. Like Yahusha knew his end. Yahusha knew what it was going to be with it way before it even happened. And it's going to be the same thing he does with the two of us here. Not just our death, obviously, we see that in Revelation 11, but other events, like other things, like pertain to the prophecy that we don't see in the Book of Revelation, that we don't see in Revelation 11, like the fact that we get powers. I mean, I didn't know. Yeah, what I'm saying, the fact that I'll be able to shapeshift in any creature, I didn't know. And, saying these things, and that we don't see that in Revelation 11. The Father is going to reveal that to us, you and me. Hell, if not all of us, But no doubt, you and me, He's going to reveal these things to us. What I'm saying, what I'm saying, before it happens. Simply because, well, we're a part of the prophecy. Also, Nayana, I'm sure in these last few videos, I'm saying, you've seen that I've thrown up, images of, you know, uh, Black Panther and Storm. Yeah, the father, he had just led me, what I'm saying, the other day, to look up some images, and I came across and I stumbled across that. Yeah, I had no idea. I know the father's gonna make me lion like, cat like, big cat like, right, panther like, right? You could say lion like, or what, I'm saying, no doubt, but I didn't know that Storm and Black Panther were married. They were married. They were a husband and wife. They're married. They get married in the comics. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that. You know, the truth is so overt, Nayana. The truth is so in plain sight. Yeah, they were married and they were king and queen over Wakanda. Obviously, we understand the prophecy, Nayana. Me and you, as we read in Zechariah, well, we're the two governors Yahuwah talked about. We are the two governors Yahuwah talked about. So, like I said, I'm not calling myself a king, but no doubt you are my queen, baby. And I love you. But yeah, that's what it is. We're gonna, what I'm saying? Yeah, truth in plain sight. You know, uh, yeah, it's far out. And Nayana, uh, this character right here, this is also another character Black Panther was married to. It's not Storm, but nonetheless, though, it's symbolic for you as well, simply due to the hair. The hair, Nayana, because I remember looking at the school photo. I lost it. I don't have it on me now. I wish I did. But the school photo from sixth grade, I remember that you had your hair, just like, this girl that, saying Black Panther was married to, in the comics. Your hair was just like hers. You had these, like short dreads, yeah. What I'm saying? Yeah, it's you, you know. Man, this is far out. Yeah, I'm sure this is far out. Now, it's like same thing. Let's like they always play with duality. Same thing they did here. They did it, what I'm saying, with the Human Torch, right? Because what I'm saying, Human Torch, if they were telling the truth, right, it should have been he should have had power over ice. But they told the truth pertaining to the relationship, what I'm saying, that, he's the younger brother of, the girl on the team. Yeah, yeah. But, Nayana, obviously your hair is still like this, but, what I'm saying, it should be white. So pretty much what they did, they gave Storm's character all your powers and all your abilities, yet the other girl, had, your appearance. See what they did there? And also they tell you the truth that, you'll have white hair, but it should have been white dreads. See what they did? Yeah. Yeah. Love you, Diana. Yeah. My beautiful bride. And also back to the boys really quickly. Yeah, that's what it's gonna be. You know, um, Zari, he's going to be able to have power over ice. Everything we see there in with Frozone, and Iceman from the X-Men, that's what's going to be, pertaining to him. You know, he's going to have complete power over ice. And Daniel, absolutely, no doubt, he'll be able to, he'll be rock like as well. He'll be able to, become rock like, but also if he touches wood, he'll be able to, take on the physical properties of the wood he is touching. He touches metal, he'll be able to take on the physical properties of the iron, the metal he is touching. Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? And if he wants to, he can take on, what I'm saying, he can become crystal like too, like I, talked about earlier with Diamond Head. You know what I'm saying? And also, baby, really quickly, there was a character on Ben 10. There was a character again that Ben had on his Omnitrix called Big Chill. Big Chill. Now, obviously, you can see what they did here. Obviously, Big Chill, he was like some type of creature with wings, and he was blue, as you can see. Not just that though. Right, Big Chill, right? He had power over ice. Big Chill was able to, freeze things. You know what I'm saying? He had power over ice, and he had flight. basically what they did with this character right here, Big Chill, that you're seeing on the screen, what they did with him, Nayana baby, is that they give me a truth, but what they did, they just